and welcome to That's What I'm Trying to Tell You, the podcast where women from different generations sit down to share their unique perspectives on life, current events, and everything in between. So join us as we navigate through topics with laughter, a little wisdom, and a whole lot of authenticity.
I am so pissed off. I have been on the phone an hour with two different insurance, with Scan and with Optum. The doctor put notes saying, do not disturb her. They say it was corporate. This woman called and she said, I see the notes. Then I called Scan. They told me to call Scan. Scan calls Optum. They said they didn't send it. I said, so what the fuck? Am I being scammed? Now nobody can give me a mailing address to mail this shit back. I'm so pissed. I'm going to go corporate, national corporate with this.
So this week we're going to record without Kat because she is on a trip helping out with her people back east. So it's just my mom and I this week, and something my mom crashed out last week, and rightfully so, regarding her healthcare provider, I would say, and I'll let her take it from here and explain exactly what happened and why her reaction, I think, was warranted.
You know, I just want to say this, that just because you turn 65 does not mean that your brain power diminishes. You don't have the ability to think for yourself or make informed decisions. And I would like to say to all of my senior citizen friends, and I say that, I really use that term lightly because if you saw me and if you get to know me, you know that I am not a decrepit senior citizen. Quite the
Like the
contrary.
stereotypical.
No, I'm not at all, not having that. And nor am I, even though I had a career as a nurse for over 40 years, I am not a huge proponent of Western medicine. That being said, I just want you to pay attention to what happens when you get signed up with Medicare and how they shuttle you in and want to give vaccines and want to tell you that you have illnesses that you really don't have, or that you need to take statins and you really don't, and that taking supplements and doing meditation like I do and exercise and trampoline is not enough. And I'll just cut to the chase. Last week, you know, all along I've had a certain healthcare provider that I signed up with couple years ago. I've been to the doctor one time, and they keep calling me because I never had labs drawn, and they keep sending me all these little tests and kits, and I throw them away. And I actually, a couple months ago, got a call from the insurance company asking me if I received one of the last kits that they sent me, and I said I did. And they asked me, was I planning to do it? And I said, I am not. And I thank you so much for calling me and checking on me. And I hung the phone up. So at the end of June, I got a call from my doctor one day, and she calls like every 6 months. And, you know, I also, let me just say this, I take my blood pressure. I mean, like, I'll send like 2 months of blood pressures, and I send all of the supplements and vitamins and minerals that I take. And I send my exercise regimen and my meditation regimen, and that, you know, how much,
All your lifestyle.
all my lifestyle, everything, the weight loss, which has been huge, everything. She calls me and, you know, she calls me the end of June and says, I'm just wondering, if you have transportation to our lab. And I said, not only do I have transportation, I'm my transportation. I know the address to the lab, and guess what? I know the directions and how to get there. So that being said, I told her, thanked her for her care, told her what I do, and I was honest with her, and I told her, I said, you know,
So she just called you to ask you,
randomly, this is what she says. I'm just
did
calling.
she order labs, or she just
She ordered labs
asked?
2 years ago that I've never gotten.
So she
Yes.
calls you to ask you randomly, do you know the directions to the lab?
Right. Like, I'm a problem child with this insurance
We need to
company,
prompt her.
you know?
Okay.
And I told her, I said, you know, although I was a nurse, I'm not, I'm not a Western medicine person. I believe in the healing power of mind, body, spirit, and my health shows that. And so, and I just say this, I do have osteoarthritis in my left hip, but it hasn't gotten worse. In fact, it's gotten better. Over the past like 4 months, it's gotten much better, and the more weight I lose, and I cut out sugar, all this other stuff, every you name it, I do it, keto, everything. So, I thanked her, and she got off the phone, and the next day, a courier shows up at our home and has a tablet that says it's from this particular insurance company. And I said, I do not want this. I did not consent to this. And this courier says, well, you're going to have to call your insurance company, and then they schedule to have it come and picked up. So I'm immediately thinking this is a scam, or,
Where
everything.
did it come from?
Where did it come from?
Yeah.
It's got an open-ended virtual appointment, and I say open-ended, between 9:30 and 4:30 p.m. on that day, that Friday. I'm supposed to open this device up and meet with some random
Random doctor.
person,
Yeah,
right,
not even your
that I did not consent to. It's got my date of birth, my name, and of course they have my address because they brought it. So I'm on fire now, right? So I called the doctor. This wonderful person answers, takes all my info. They put in an urgent message to the doctor. They say, we didn't send it out. Your doctor didn't send it out. In fact, I see that your doctor talked to you the day before and put a note in your file, do not disturb this patient. Okay. Then I call the umbrella under which I am for this insurance company, and that happens to be Scan. And I'm sure a lot of people have Scan. Scan has no idea what I'm talking about. They call the doctor's office, they call the insurance company. Nobody knows anything. Sorry, we can't help you. I hang up, and then I call the insurance company, and I get a lovely woman in South Carolina who says, we haven't used those devices in almost 3 years. She asked me what it has on it. I said, it has a sticker on it. Looks like a tracking sticker. She says, give me the numbers on it. I did. She said, yeah, that's one of our devices, and it's registered to some random office in another part of a little city outside of where we live here in Southern California. So I'm back to square one. And
meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting voice notes from her with play by play.
because I
She's
was going to
irritated.
take it to the police
Yeah,
department.
she's just like, where is this
So
going?
much so that I called the courier, because this random number that came in, the courier that morning telling me that they were here with this thing. I called, and of course I left a couple messages, and the final message was, I said, I am leaving this outside my door. And I said, if I don't hear from you with the origin, the of your pickup, the address that you picked this device up, I am going to the police department with this device, and I'm going to give them your number. Well, after all this happens, ladies and gentlemen, by the end of the day, I called the doctor's office back. I get another representative, some man in South Carolina, very lovely man. He listened patiently. He said, I see they've talked to you. I'm going to put an urgent message in to call you back.
This is on a Friday, so
This is on a Friday. Of course, it's on a Friday, the end of the day. So, and I've been on the phone 3 separate times for a total of about an hour and 42 minutes. So, Monday morning, I get a call. I put the device in the trunk of my car. And that particular day, on Monday, my daughter drives my car to work. And of course, a courier comes to pick the device up on Monday. And I said, I'm sorry I don't have it here, but if you can come back after a certain time, he says, I'll schedule a pickup. Long story short, everybody, they picked it up on Tuesday. Well, this past Wednesday, I handed them everything back because I'm thinking, is this a scam?
where did it come from?
Where did it come from? Don't know. They already have my address. I already have my date of birth. Let them have it back. It's printed on the insurance company card stock, but we all know it can be printed out anywhere or anybody. You can print money if you want to. So Wednesday, someone left a message from my doctor's office saying, we did not order that. And you had to have consented in order for them to deliver it anyway. So then I'm on fire again. So I call the office back and I get another person in South Carolina who can see all the documentation. And I told them, you don't need to call me back, but I suggest that you call your medical fraud department because it sounds like some BS to me. So that's where I am, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry for that long and, around the mountain story, but pay attention. If you get anything like that, don't open it up because I'm I'm not a skeptic, but I'm a thinker. And I'm not, first of all, I didn't consent to it. So there's a lot of HIPAA violation going on there. I did not give them or ask them to set up a virtual appointment. I did not give out any of my personal information. And a lot of people would have received that, particularly if you are really a proponent of Western medicine, like, oh, the doctor said so. Once you open it up, then your information has to go in there. And then if it is a scam, they're off and running. All I'm saying is pay attention and just don't believe the hype. So that's where I am. I hope they got the message. I was going to take it Monday afternoon. I was going to deliver it. I had written a letter saying, I think that you need to give this to your medical fraud department, but it didn't happen that way. Anyway, pay attention to your insurance company, pay attention to your doctor. So that being said, I'm in the process. I'm very clear that I want to change doctors and I want to change insurance companies. So that's where I am.
Yeah, I could see it because that definitely, if it was me, I would leave a bad taste in my mouth because number one, I don't like to be coerced into anything. And I don't think I ever have been. If I can think back on all the doctor's appointments I've had or experiences with doctors, no one has ever said you have to do this, or force something like a random device into my hand. That just for me, looking at our American healthcare system, of course, now the cracks are starting to show, especially with this an investigation and bust that the Trump administration did on all these scams from a lot of Russian companies,
Yes.
Chinese companies. It was one of the biggest busts in U.S. history, and how they're running them on the most vulnerable populations, which are senior citizens.
Mhm.
It just all I I just have to say what's wrong with the healthcare system because it seems to be more focused on inducing fear in people than actually providing care that people need. It leaves very little room for people to actually have conversations with their doctor, or if you disagree with, what your doctor is saying, why do I need to be on this medication? Are there any side effects? How often do you go into a doctor's office and have a full conversation with your doctor, number one? Usually you have like what, a 10-minute appointment and you're done. If you have a routine checkup, it's not really a long appointment. And they, throw out, oh, I think your cholesterol is a little bit high, instead of lifestyle interventions. Okay, I'm gonna, put you on walking and maybe this kind of diet.
Can I interject something there?
Yeah.
That you said a mouthful because, all my friends know I refer to myself as a hippie. I was fortunate enough to grow up with parents who were healthy, who ate healthy, who were, my father was making kombucha back in, the early 70s. And so I said to the doctor when she called me the day before they sent this device that I wish she would spend as much time teaching people how to keep their mind, body, and spirit, intact,
Mhm.
and what a positive effect it has on them,
Yeah.
rather than putting the fear of God in people. And the reason, part of the
And
reason,
using their authority, like, well, I'm a doctor. Are you going to disagree with me?
exactly,
Yeah, I am, because it's
and
my health.
that's right. And people don't realize you have to make informed decisions with everything you do. I cannot say that in any other way, whether it's about your child, the food you put in your body, the kind of car you buy, whatever it is, make an informed decision. And just because it came from a doctor, so
Right.
Now, if
And
I
you
know,
actually have some authority because you did work in the medical field as a nurse, so you know what it's like to have the billing done for, get
it's
vaccines for
money.
your kids,
Everything
and
is about
it
every
makes the
vaccine
practice
you take
money,
is
right?
money.
Yeah.
Every lab test you take is money.
Hmm.
Every everything. If they order diabetic socks for you, that's money. Oh, this patient has high blood pressure. Oh, let's get them on this. Not let's get them out into some exercise program. Let's
Right.
get them a nutritionist.
Hmm.
Let's teach them that there's some herbs and vitamins that can help
Hmm.
them.
Or
Let's teach them
offset
about
the
lifestyle changes.
the
What's going on in your, what about your mental health?
yeah.
Is somebody in your circle toxic, and every time you see them or break bread with them, your blood pressure goes up?
Hmm.
You got to change your mindset,
Well,
your
you've already
lifestyle.
said too much for the average doctor.
Yeah, I
They're
know,
not
and people
gonna.
will come for you for that, and
Yeah.
people think that I'm all woo woo, but I'm telling you
Yeah, that's fine.
what how I live my life and
Yeah.
what works for me. And when you find your peace and you are sure of who you are and you know that this is working for me, you're there.
Trust it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, trust
You
your
find
inner
something that
being.
works for you. Yeah.
And I think back on, and I'm gonna
And
sound
we'll put this disclaimer into, of course, this is not medical advice
right,
at all or anything like that. Check with your doctor. We're just giving our opinion. It's a podcast, so don't get riled up.
right.
But we're not saying that Western medicine doesn't have its place, of course, right? If you get
No, that,
shot, you want to
yeah,
go to an ER,
absolutely.
room. If you have cancer or something, you want the imaging that Western medicine can provide and the chemo to start, um,
If that's your
if
choice
that's your
to do
choice to
chemo.
do chemo,
Right,
whatever,
right.
there are interventions that Western medicine has that are very useful. I'm not saying
That
that
may be helpful for
that
some
may be
people.
helpful for
Right.
some people with whatever they're going through. So that anyway, you were saying something. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that there is always an alternative,
Mhm.
and I just wish, this is what I'm going to say,
For
and I'll
anything.
stop talking. I wish we could see more thinkers on the planet. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't just take it.
Mhm.
Don't just take it.
Or you people, I think people are thinkers. They would be empowered to,
There you go. That's a
you
good
know,
way to put it.
question
Be empowered. It's okay to
something.
question something.
Right.
Like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go. So you want to put me on blood pressure medicine? I tell you what, if you really are a doctor person, give me 2 months and let me go home and start exercising and changing the way that I eat. For instance, there are a lot of things we don't do. We don't eat seed oils. We don't eat sugar. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I'm not a vaccine person. You know all that about me. That's my choice.
Right.
That's what works for me. And I have a couple friends who have that same mindset. I don't push it on people.
No.
I try to be the example.
Right.
Okay? But I wish more people would be empowered to say, it's okay to give myself a minute and let me think this through. Let me try some meditation. Let me try a naturopath.
Mhm.
Let me try
Or
these
even
herbs.
just let me go to another doctor and see if they also
That.
are saying I have high blood pressure. Because we had a neighbor that they thought they had high blood pressure, right? And then they went to the doctor and another doctor, and the other doctor was like, "Who put you on this? You don't have high blood pressure." So that's crazy to be,
Yeah.
same country. It's not like they went to a different country or something, or maybe even a different provider. I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
that two doctors can have differing opinions based on their experience. So, and that too, all doctors are not created equal. Some have experience in one kind of medicine, others in another. Their years of practice also factor into what they've seen and what kind of help they can offer. So there's,
And don't
yeah,
be, let me
all
just
of
say
that.
this, and I'm not trying to be, negative here, but they're gonna look at you like, she doesn't know what she's talking
Yeah.
about, or here we go, she's crazy.
Hmm.
People are gonna look at you like that. Like,
Yeah. Oh, this is a conspiracy theorist.
exactly. And I don't care. Let
That's
them
cool.
talk.
Yeah.
Ask me if I care, baby. I don't care.
Mhm.
But when I started meditating, was it before COVID?
Yeah.
I started meditating before COVID, and I think people were like, okay, yeah.
Mhm.
Like, some of my cousins in Atlanta, when years ago, I was a vegetarian, and then I would go to Atlanta a couple times a year That's my second home. And I only drank bottled water. I tried to tell people why I only drank bottled water, and they would whisper when family or friends would come, she's from California. People are going to do that, and that's cool, but I'm going to be the shining example. And I just say, I want to empower people, particularly right now on this subject, people who are of a certain age. Do not let anybody, overrule you. If you feel a certain way, if your inner being is telling you, you know what, I'm going to try this and this might work for me, and you track it yourself, stay there, you know, stay there, because I'm sick and tired of doctors, and I'm going to say this, and I'm sure hopefully there's some doctors listening, but don't think because somebody's 65 or over that we have a diminished brain capacity, because we don't. In fact, everybody needs to be listening to us, my generation. I was born in 1958, people who are thinkers and live through some stuff, you know? So anyway, that's my story.
It's a different perspective too. And
It's a
more
different
life
perspective, but we
experience.
also thought differently. I'm not going to just,
Yeah.
we think
I'm
differently.
gonna tell you. Yeah.
Okay? That's it.
Yeah. So anyway, you guys, we'll be back with another episode. Kat will be returning, but it's just my mom's 2 cents, and I may or may not include one of the voice messages she sent me. She was so mad. Anyway, take care, y'all. See you again. Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please follow, comment, and reach out on our socials. Also, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you resonated with anything in the episode, be it products or topics, make sure to check the show notes for additional information, or shoot us an email if you like. See you next time.